wasted movement in their shots. Blake McCowan had a career high 19 points, so you know, you can see a little bounce in his step, and
yeah, you really can.
And we need to have him continue to progress. We get hung up on a double team. We weren't doubling the ball screen. Really didn't even need the help, and that was against the zone. Hanover played some zone against us, and the zone hadn't really bothered us all year. And then even in this game, you can see, you know, we're getting those last 5 points were against the zone. But we had a couple crucial turnovers late in the game against the zone that were unforced. Again, another wide open shot with the zone from Blake.
And Hanover just connecting on a ton of shots all night long, and your guys connecting on some too. I mean, that's almost on the sideline there.
It is, and that was a misdirection three out of the side, out of bounds. A great pass from Tim. And
speaking of deep,
again,
from the hash.
Matthew Martin off the pass from Tim. And you know, we ended up having to shoot a lot of threes in this game as we ended up being.
Now that looks, I know you can't say this, to me that looks like that ought to be a foul.
Yeah, well that was to cut it to 2, and I think Coach Kerrigan and I were pleading our case, but Aaron went down and was out for the rest of the game with a 4-point game, with a 4-point, you know, that was a 4-point lead at that time, and the technical cost us 1, which it wasn't so bad. It was a couple of the segments there right before that, but yeah, that led kind of up to that. But Dr. Mike Beitzel does a great job at Hanover, and even when he was in Northern Kentucky, used to bring in the teams and have some great games against the old Coach Lane.
Well, when we come back, we're going to introduce you to a pioneer you haven't met this year. We're going to introduce you to Matthew Martin, and we got plenty more still to come here on this edition of Transylvania Basketball with Brian Lane. But first, here is a look at the standings. We talked about at the top of the show, you are just a game out of first place.
Yeah, it was disappointing to get 2 losses, but you can see everybody's bunched up there at the beginning with the loss to Defiance and loss to Hanover. We've already had some good wins on the road, so it's going to be a matter of getting our feet back under us after getting knocked down this past week. But we can still do a lot of damage in that league. I mean, as we look at all the teams, we're as good as anybody in there. We've just got to prove it every night, especially on the defensive end.
Plenty more coming up.
When the IRS levied
I'm Ryan Mollenkoff. He could stroke it from way beyond the arc, but it is his tenacity on defense that has this sophomore getting minutes. This week's Transy Player of the Week is Matthew Martin.
Tough, scrappy, physical, defensive-oriented, three-point shooting. These are all terms that Transy's Matthew Martin's teammates describe him as.
He's tough. He's physical. Every practice, he's out there and he's physical. He's always grabbing, making you better. I mean, and besides the fact he can shoot from like 35 feet out, he's got range, and he's a pure shooter. Takes care of the ball real well. He's a good player.
Is just deadly from the outside. I mean, you'll think you got him guarded, and next thing you know, he's shooting a shot. And we found that out the first week of practice when he pulled a shot from as far out as 30 feet and was nothing but the bottom of the net.
The best thing I can do is shoot. That's the best. I don't bring a whole lot else to the table, so just try to knock down open shots and hit my open teammates.
And Matthew does shoot the three ball very well, but something he says he needs to work on is maybe he shoots it a little too far away.
I can feel like I can shoot it from anywhere on the court. The last game against Defiance, I shot a little too far. Had to make sure the situation is right to shoot it.
And coming into Transy, Matthew had his offensive game and his three-point shot down, but it was his defense that he felt like he needed to improve on.
I've been working on my defense. I'm not the quickest guy out there, so I have to make sure I'm in the right position and play good team defense.
He's really developed his game as a defensive player. We all used to joke about how he would foul a lot in the beginning, but now he can really lock down and really shut someone down.
And he's got the outside shot, and he might have the defense down, but it is Matthew's recent ability to penetrate that has allowed him to have more playing time on the court.
But now as we've gotten further into the course of the season, now we all think we know how to guard him and just close out his shot, and he'll go right by us and take it all the way to the rack. I mean, he's very skilled.
He's a really good three-point shooter. But as of recent, he's been not only relying on that, but he's been getting to the rim more too. So he's been getting fouled and picking up rebounds, which is also good because going from one-dimensional, just a shooter, to an all-around player. So it's helping everybody out and getting everybody going and helping the team out more.
I'm just excited to get the opportunity to play, and I get in there, try to help our team win. Just go all out and do anything I can.
And Matthew is playing the game of basketball right now, but someday he hopes to teach the game of basketball as a coach.
I mean, I've dreamed of being associated with the University of Kentucky. That would be my dream. Growing up 30 minutes away from campus, Kentucky basketball is unique as far as tradition and the way the whole state is behind them. So that would have to be a dream job for sure.
Matthew is a sophomore from Winchester, Kentucky, and is majoring in education with the hopes of becoming a coach someday. So, Coach, how far is too far for Matthew Martin?
I'll tell you what,
it's a good question.
Percentage-wise, I mean, he's been able to, even though they've been deep, you know, he took a 24-footer and made it, and then a 30-footer and missed it, and still shooting 50%. But what Matthew brings to the table is just a tenacity every day, and he's made our other guards better because he's very, very aggressive on the ball. He's taking it off the dribble as well, and he started probably a little later than everybody else on this team because he's on my golf team as well, and will be an all-conference golfer. And just a very, very solid person, and will be a very good coach one day.
He looked like a guy who had his hand caught in the cookie jar when he was talking about taking that shot too far out.
I think I kind of shot it, yes. Yeah. And we talked about it. But, you know, that he has confidence now that he can make it regardless of where it is, so that's good.
All right, we got plenty more still to come here on this edition of Transylvania Basketball as we wrap things up here with Brian Lang. And by the way, before we do that, I should mention, if you're interested in an open house, here we go. Transylvania University invites high school juniors and seniors to the winter open house coming up next Saturday. This is a great opportunity for folks.
Great opportunity for the juniors and seniors and also their families to come on campus, get to know our administration, some of our professors, and all the athletic coaches as well.
It's a great opportunity. Nice prime number they got there for the Division III postseason tournament.
It is, and those juniors and seniors that are coming to our open house know what you just said. Some of the people watching do not know.
Only divisible by one in itself. I did learn that somewhere along the way.
64 is the ideal, and you would think with 440 Division III schools we could get that done.
One would think,
but just the way the NCAA does with their certain number of championship opportunities for per schools. It's like one opportunity for every 8.734 schools. So
that sounds like pie to me. I don't know. You know, we don't have time to get into that. Let's look at the schedule though coming up ahead. This much easier numbers to deal with here.
It is, and you know, after yesterday's game with Thomas More, we need to come out and have a real solid trip up to Cincinnati. Mount St. Joe is a team that's always at their place has been a very, very hard-working team, and then the trip up to Manchester, we've already had a good game with them earlier in the year. North Manchester always a trip where you got to go in and be on your best because the little gray-haired ladies behind the bench will absolutely wear you out if you're not coaching the way you're supposed to.
And Anderson at home to get you back into the friendly confines there of the Beck Center. So.
It is, and coming back again, we had a good road win up at Anderson, and these three games are crucial for us because they can get us back on the right footing, and there's going to be some movement in that upper part of the